Do you? Like, theirs is too sweet for me.
He was making sure Paul was on.
We are on YouTube.
Okay,
And
notice we are on YouTube.
yes, it's recorded.
All right, I think Rod's gonna join us in a bit, but we'll go ahead and get started and call this meeting to order, study session of City Council Thursday, December the 12th at 6:07 PM. No roll call, but we'll just get into it. Animal control, I think we're gonna get out of the way quick and easy first, small. And I don't know who, did y'all draw straws, planning and police?
No, it's gonna be the bad one.
Oh, whatever that is, okay. Oh, there you go. You heard that. All right. Huh? Tom has spoken.
It's not on paper.
Yeah, he's. Wow.
Is this updated?
Is this real numbers, Tom?
Well,
Wait, are the pages numbered?
It's 3 pages. You need them
We're
numbered?
giving him a hard time.
I know, but I wouldn't rock the boat.
we got him on the ropes.
Oh,
Right
Did
before
you change
planning
anything?
gets up.
oh, okay. And you'll explain that since I don't know what that is.
Right, that was good.
Okay, great.
Right out of the chute.
Okay, ready? Hi, I'm Danielle. I'll be presenting the animal control
Where
budget.
do you live, Danielle?
179 Pecan Lane, Greenwood,
You're in
Arkansas.
Greenwood?
Mm-hmm. Yes. Thank you, Miss Councilman Maker. So I, out of the kindness of my heart, am presenting the animal control budget on behalf of the mayor. We felt that it would be easier if I got up here and did it quickly since it is a short and sweet budget. We're requesting everything stay the same from last year. The only addition is a transfer to the planning department for $2,750 for software that will be implemented for Kyla to use. So that is the only change. And then the mayor is, excuse me, presenting for her to receive a 3% merit increase along with the suggested COLA.
What is the software? Yeah, what's the software?
I am upgrading our software through planning to a community development package, which includes code enforcement. And if I don't let her have it, it's just gonna sit idle. And so we thought best to let Kyla have it. It'll upgrade and update some of the stuff she does. Should improve a lot of the functions in code enforcement and streamline a little bit of it. Should be able to keep everything digitally, where right now most of it's kept hard copy and files in her desk or in her truck. So I just got the price of what that actual software
That
module
part.
would cost all with art, and requested that she reimburse us for the price of that from off our total new package price.
So what kind of things is she keeping on the software?
It's gonna be all of her inspection reports, any code enforcement complaints. It'll offer a portal for citizen complaints for code enforcement violations. And it'll keep record of all of that, where right now, if you complain, it's just probably a phone call or a handwritten note. I mean, there's a whole list of things that it adds on to. I don't know extensively what's involved. It is web-based.
You guys can access it from, citizens can access it and communicate with them.
Yeah, it's identical to my planning software. It's through the same company. I have it on my phone, on my tablet, in my office, wherever I go.
Is there a checkbox for a cat for me?
Mm-mm.
I don't know. It has no animal control function. I do know that.
Just the code side.
Strictly code. Yeah.
Which we're, this is a little debatable every year, not so much that we've debated it, I don't guess as much, but at some point, there probably needs to be a discussion about, I don't know about splitting it necessarily, but I want her to lean a little bit more on code too than we've been doing. I mean, she's overwhelmed almost, if you will, with animal issues. So we're good now, but one of these days we may have to look at something a little different. I don't know. Why are you looking at me like that?
I'm not,
No.
just
I say
listening.
overwhelmed, there's a lot to it. But I don't want to let the code side drop off either.
Do you all have any other questions? Good?
Nothing for Miss Danielle.
Okay, great.
Now, is the 2750 actually an extra cost of adding on animal control to it?
For what she's reimbursing me, yes.
Okay.
And that's just the code side, not animal control, actually, which is half her duties, so. Right, yes.
Mm. Nothing else for Danielle or code, animal control?
Sounds good to me.
Very good.
Okay, great.
Nick,
Thank
ma'am.
you.
Is
Good, all right.
these three departments that you're hearing tonight are all three departments that have funding sourced through their surplus and or deficit through the general fund. So I'm gonna give you an overall look at where the budgets are compared to last year's budgets from each of these departments' perspective, so you can see whether they're gaining ground, losing ground, or what's happening in their revenue streams that's causing some of the deficits that you'll be looking at. In this case, there is in the bottom line of animal control, you do notice they went from a budgeted 19. Right now, as of today, they're right at $5,000 deficit. Month's not over, but this is updated as of today. So one of the bigger impacts is going to come from this county sales tax revenue line. Their projected revenues is going to be flat. That number can change, however, depending on what we get in the month of December in the county side. So you're looking at 93,000 net projected growth, 80,000 is what we currently have, and coming into them as the percentage distribution, and you have 88,000 for the proposed budget. So that reduction plays into this decrease of 97.5 to 92.5. So I wanted you to see that. Animal control expense, as you look at the 50,000 right now, year to date, you're at 34,170. There wasn't really a talk about that, but I didn't know whether that number really jumped out at you saying, well, is that going to be the new norm, or are you anticipating 50,000 next year? That would have been a question.
So here's what I know about that. We talked to, or Danielle and I talked a little bit about it today and Kyla too. And I think there was a thought of dropping it down. In fact, Danielle suggested we drop it.
Yes, I
But-
did suggest that because may I approach?
You may.
Okay. She and I did discuss that. As you can see that she's only spent 34,000 of the 50,000 budgeted. And I said, hey, let's bring that down. And she felt that we may want to think about leaving that because due to the growth coming in, more houses being built, more people moving in, that her costs could increase due to picking up more dogs and things along that nature. So that was her thought. I don't know if we want to just bump it a little bit down, not have that much of a gap, but
In the meeting last month, this month's meeting,
mhm.
we discussed some of the feral cat pieces. Is
Mhm.
any of that potentially factored in, or are we
No.
just safely saying that?
No, because at this current time, we do not have anywhere to take cats. So therefore she could not pick them up. So therefore we could not charge anything. So that's not going to add in any expense.
Whatever we do with that group of ladies or with that group
Mhm.
to try to cooperate with them, I don't think there'll be any financial
No.
either way. It's just trying to figure out what allow them to do with our own ordinance.
Right.
But I'm fine. Danielle's, like she said, she suggested if you guys want to drop it, just to
Some.
shave it a little bit to keep it off of there. Worst case scenario is if she goes over 35, if we drop it to whatever and she goes over, we got to come back and amend the budget.
And to me, drop it to 40 or
So
I don't know, whatever you think.
feel comfortable.
Yeah.
I mean, it should be, but you just don't know.
yeah.
And
For
we
some
haven't-
reason, our area seems to have a lot of dogs
Right.
that get out a lot. Kyla does do a really, really great job at advertising anytime that she does pick up a dog to get them reunited as quickly as possible. So that way, the fees do not incur. And then, of course, the owners do pay us back the
The only thing
cost.
you have to be cautious of is, I say cautious, and we don't bring it to you every time, but because it's built in, but a vet bill for a dog.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Because we can incur a lot of costs on these dogs, because once we take them, we're responsible.
Yeah.
And so if they have issues, I mean, we have to respond to that through a vet. So,
But she does very good at investigating where the dogs were found.
oh yeah,
and
she's not.
so, I mean, that's helped, significantly for sure.
I mean, it could be 50 every time if there wasn't a whole lot of work put into
Uh-huh.
That she's
Yes.
that. Yeah.
done. I
That's,
agree to that.
yeah.
She's pretty good.
But if you want to drop it, that's,
Now, I wasn't suggesting that you drop it. I just wanted to point out, that is the largest expense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In this department.
Right.
Other than salaries.
Right.
Everything else is kind of in line. You will notice that the health insurance, this line right here, 5607 down from 7,000 this year, up to 72, and that's where it will actually come in based on the one more payment that we have to Blue Cross. So there's already built into this the significant savings on the health insurance side. So I just wanted to give you that. If you look at the actual bottom line budget, they're going up 2.9% in the expense side. It's 116 to 120, 3388, going up 2.9%.
I mean, I think it would be fine if you dropped it to the 40. I mean, that still gives her plenty of a couple thousand room if she needs it for next year.
I recommend we drop it to 40. Agreed.
Mhm.
Agree.
Good.
Is that all right with you, Tom? Or I know, but I mean,
do it.
that helps, right?
Do it.
Okay, down to 40. Okay, great. All right.
So this is not
Great.
accurate anymore.
Oh my gosh. Stop.
I'm just saying.
Okay.
The screen is.
Okay.
Yeah, that's all that matters. Okay. Anything else?
Thank you so much.
Good. Thank you.
Planning department. Mhm.
This is 6 pages, so you're gonna have to do some
Looking.
flipping.
Our number, that's good.
So we're thinking this is good.
You have to.
Look at the screen.
Good evening. You'll notice on page one, the projected revenues at 79.9. Underneath that, there's a transfer from general and for the iWord Q module for $5,000. That's coming from the city clerk's office. That's another module that's for the business license.
Yes, privilege license.
Privilege license that she'll be able to use that same software that we were just talking about for the animal control. It has the provisions for that in there for Charla. And then underneath that, you see the 2750 that's transferred from animal control. And then with the transfer from the county sales tax of 173, you have a total revenue and transfer of $261,433.
Is this module, does it need to integrate with your stuff, Tom, or?
I have access to theirs. They send me emails. On his, it's perfect. Anything that would be revenue stream to us that's coming through the credit card purchases, I get notified. And I get the actual
Lord,
bank,
where's-
actually
Usually.
behind, and then you bank it one day, and then we record all of it. So we don't totally integrate, but it goes through our segregation.
I need to say something about that module, that $5,000. I had asked Hunter to, if his system, since people are able to pay online or electronically, could we do that, the same thing with privilege licenses? Because a lot of people want that. A lot of people ask me for that constantly. And so that's what it would cost. But I think the revenue from privilege licenses is only like 10 grand or something like that. It's around there. And so that kind of eats in too much to the whole revenue of privilege license collections.
Might get more people to pay them if it was easier.
Well, we already get that much is what I'm saying. That's decreasing the revenue by half. And then somebody suggested, well, increase the price of privilege license, but not too long ago, we doubled it. So that doesn't feel right either. So I'm not sure if we're going to do the 5,000, I guess. If y'all want to leave it in there, then do, but it seems like there could be maybe a cheaper way to allow people to pay electronically than that.
So each one would be 5,000. There's 5,000, and you get it. The privilege would add 5,000.
And there's no way that it can come into the water office and then they do a transfer.
It's a nightmare on the water systems revenue side.
Is it?
Yeah, you really wouldn't want that flowing into water systems, but I don't know that it would. Where does it go? Payments.
It goes into the water office, but they don't do the billing
I know, but if somebody were to pay electronically
on their system.
through the water, yeah, that's what he's saying, into the water office.
Not to read their system. 'Cause
You just said water office.
They take checks and they take credit cards, but that's for the water payments only.
We don't have a way for them, like, when people make pavilion payments online, it's through them. And, I mean, I think the volume would be too much to allow privilege licensing and have to pick all that out.
Yes.
And that's the problem there. To have people pay that way for those reasons, because the pavilion payments are here and there every so often. They're easy to identify. Privilege license would just be the slew. It would be really hard, just because of the way it comes in a batch kind of mode, mixed in with the other.
And you are right, it is 20,000 new budget for privilege licenses per year. And so there- So 5,000 against 20 is that a one-time cost or the annual fee?
Annual, he said.
These are all service contracts that are annual.
I kind of agree.
And I mean, it's not just to allow them to pay online, because it does have some administrative functions to it that would be helpful. But
I've got the list.
I don't think it could really benefit us to justify $5,000. Honestly, it was 8, and I was just being kind of silent on it from this email, and then they dropped it to 5. But I still think that's too much for my purposes.
Be silent.
I didn't say it would.
If it drops to 5, I mean, that
Just a look.
drops by 5
Yeah,
to 0.
yeah.
And I guess there's
Oh
no,
my gosh, Daniel, thank you so much.
like,
You
I see on the water department, there's
Can you keep that
flag,
up?
there's no other means that we can use, like they can use, where it's just like we charge a survey, or, a surcharge of 2.5% or whatever, it covers that. One pay,
You're asking if they can get a standalone payment processing system
yeah.
for
That's,
point of sale.
I mean, we can. We just,
would it cost 5,000?
I don't know.
It's the fees. We can look at it. This is something that came up when we brought it into my attention today.
Well, because I asked for it.
Yeah, and so, but we can discuss a standalone system. This system that he uses, does not charge us any of the processing fees. It goes directly to whoever on the line, putting it through on their credit card. It's a credit
Well,
card.
I can understand that, but I'm just saying, like you said, for 5,000, obviously not more, like you said, it's 20,000, from it,
Those systems he currently uses, which is through Centerpoint billing, and then they send in their checks. we budget and get $20,000 a year, that's from the privilege licenses.
Right.
So you figure the volume at $50, how many people are paying the privilege licenses, but, what you was looking for was a convenience thing to allow them to go online and pay it rather than send a check or come in and pay in cash or in person.
Right, yeah.
This module would allow them to apply online, pay online, renew online. They wouldn't have to come in here and see us unless they wanted to. But, I mean, there's a whole list of things that the 5,000 would cover, but it makes no difference to me. It's whether or not Charlotte wants to use it and modernize and digitize as much as she can. If she doesn't,
Well, I was gonna say, that's why I like the idea of doing that, I mean, especially the younger crowd, you know, that they're all just either, you know, a money transfer or, you know,
PayPal.
PayPal, Venmo, or, you know, or just, you know, their debit card. And so I kind of agree with Rod. I mean, it might make things easier to, you know, to get the payments.
Well, that's what we're trying to do. I mean, we don't have a huge problem getting payments. I mean, the people that request payment online, they just want that. They will still pay us.
Well, I know my son doesn't even have checks. I mean, you know, by the time he has to get a check, he has to go to the bank and just request one and stuff, so. I don't know if there, that's why I was just wondering if there was just some type of, but I guess, you know, I think if it's 20,000 that we get, you know, I think, I was trying to think, well, 2.5%.
Well, the reason I put that in there, I thought that you requested that, Charlie.
I did, but
You have your second thoughts?
but then when I realized that it eats into the revenue so much, it's like, I don't think that's worth it just to keep it convenient. More payments, so I know there's more to it.
You want to take it out?
I think just leave it in there until we figure it out.
Okay. That's up to,
I really don't care.
yeah, it'd have to be done by ordinance, wouldn't it?
Okay.
Yeah, probably.
we do have the cheapest privilege license around, I believe. I was the advocate for raising the rate on that.
We
When
just,
was the last time you did raise them?
2018 maybe or something like that. 20?
Well, I think that's anything too,
You
you
gotta
know,
read.
kind of account for inflation or whatever that,
You doubled it.
we doubled it in. Well,
Mhm.
50 to 100.
Heard a lot of noise. I told people we hadn't doubled it, or we hadn't changed the rates in so many years.
Okay, 50 right now.
That's half a second, one more.
Hey, Sonny,
Yes,
Yeah, it was 2018.
63,400 education and training. Several of these went up. Page one.
I'm gonna go to.
Yeah.
Because the detail is where all it is.
Yes.
Here's education training.
So there's, budgeted 4,600 last year. We got to 3,400 this year. It's doubled it. Nearly doubled it for this coming year. Are you guys anticipating more trainings?
they got $2,000 in tuition reimbursement expense, that we're, budgeting this year for, Hunter. And, we've got, additional conferences that are coming up that we've gone up on our budget on that. And, the main thing is the college courses tuition.
It's supposed to be 26, isn't it?
Yeah, we got 2,000 there, then we've got 1,000 for additional planning, related courses, which would take in the 26 and give us a buffer.
Let's don't, I don't, some of these I don't understand. I mean, we're not even close to meeting it for what we had budgeted this year. Double. It's like reporting fees. I mean, we budgeted 6,000 last year we're at $689 for this year, and we're budgeting 6,000 a year. Is that a typo, or is that?
I don't have the last year's.
So the first column that says.
Oh, I got you. Yeah.
3055?
Yeah, we budgeted 4,600, we're at 3428, and, but Hunter has really just started on the college courses in earnest this year.
He's he's asking about the recording fees. So
Yeah.
63,055. You had 6,000 last year and you spent 689. According to the,
According to your paper.
Yeah, that's gotta be a typo. Do you see it, Sunny?
No, I'm not,
Okay, here. It's fees recording.
Right here, recording fees. Y'all only use 689, but you got 6,000 budgeted. So that might need to be
Kept
dropped, I
it from
think is
the
what he's
last
saying.
year's budget.
Yeah.
What he's saying is you didn't spend it, so.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah, it-
we're not even close.
like I said, if we get into something that, for example, ordinances that are very long and we have to, go to the newspaper with them, then that fee can go up drastically. And, we can drop it if you want to, and I might have to come back and ask for more, but Charlotte can tell you that the recording ordinances, in the paper are very expensive.
That happens when we do a really long ordinance.
Mhm.
I don't remember what.
Well, something like an animal control ordinance or something like that hits, that, some of them take up a whole page of the newspaper, so.
It's only the ones we're legally required to do that with now, because we don't, we only record with the county on things that affect, like, the county city.
So Ralph, if you'd like to drop that, that's fine.
I would say drop it, and then if it comes up again, then of course we'll have to.
Well, there's a few of these out before I start making suggestions. I just kind of want some clarification on some of these. Like-
If you'll notice the fourth item down on there is $77,000.
Right.
That is the other night at the council meeting when they had the drainage study, gentleman here, and that was the cost of the study, $77,000. I wanted to put this in the budget to bring this up for discussion, to find out, one, if you wanted us to proceed on with this drainage study. Two, if you wanted to put this all in the planning, if you did want to, if it would be all in the planning budget, or three, if you wanted to split it between planning and the street. I mean, that's the three options that we have on this.
I would put maybe professional, but at least it's isolated.
Hey, Sonny, on that contract, so the 71, I thought it was 71,000, but maybe 77,000. That was just for the scope of work, but there were also supplemental fees in there for like travel and stay and things like that. I mean, did we ask them how much they anticipate? those
Ralph,
extra
not
costs?
really. I was depending on Hunter to give me a total on that project, and that was the number that I got, was 77,000.
They're all relatively local, Northwest Arkansas. I'm not sure. I mean, other than fuel expense, and they would only come down a few times. Initially, maybe towards the end of the project, they come down a little bit more frequent when they're mapping the actual system. But as far as the initial data collection, it's mainly going to be via email. They're going to be over 90 days, as far as I know.
That was just a red flag that I saw. I was like, I think it's only 77,000, and they're fixing to gig us on the rest.
Yeah, I would propose to close that loop somehow, cap their total surplus
I'd
expense.
add two on this idea of this study. I think it's important. One is, not just one, but we've had two visits, one in particular from Congressman Womack in the last couple of years. And he emphasized that he would help. He wants to help with drainage. That's kind of very much in his wheelhouse, I guess, trying to get some funding for it. But he said very clearly, you've got to have a study done. I can't get you any funds without it. So to me, this is just, I know it's $77,000. There could be more with travel and stuff.
Well, that was
It's a
the
big deal. to get some-
caveat to this too, is if y'all wanted to proceed on this, and then we put it in the budget, we would decide whether it would be all in one budget or split into two, and then we would go and start looking for these grants and working with congressmen and, get that figure down or our expense down. But I need your authorization to proceed, and then how you want to fund it if you do want to proceed.
To me, that would be, I think, under, professional fees, because it's kind of like we're using some type of firm to do a study for us and stuff, and, right?
Well, it's an improvement project,
Kind of,
whether it was an improvement project or a professional fees, to me is immaterial to the point that it's $77,000. Where would you like me to put it? And how would you like me to, if you want me to proceed on with it?
I'd like to see it done. This is
Yeah.
a very important component of planning.
I think too, professional, you spent 11,000 this year, you think it's gonna be more than that again for the things that you're doing, or?
I'm always looking for different ways to improve what we're doing, and I would like to have a cushion, if anywhere, in the professional fees area, so that we're not as restricted.
This is dealing with, engineering companies and, whether it's Brixie or Hawkins Weir or whatever, we have to be able to fund the projects that we're up against or looking for information. So that's what that's for.
What do we gain by sharing it with streets?
Well, streets, they're in charge of drainage. What is, it's still, is
Funding.
funding it, it's taxpayer money. And so that's why I say, if you wanted to put it all through planning, that's fine with me. If you want to split it with streets, that's fine with me. Just, that's why I wanted to put it in there is for this discussion.
Well, part of, if you look at it as a capital improvement, then you have access to sales, the sales tax, whatever percentage they're getting off of. But if you leave it under professional fees, it comes under the county sales tax.
Professional fees is what it really is, because it's just a study. It's not doing anything other than providing you with intellectual property. As far as the moving it, I already did. It's sitting under professional fees right now. But the actual work is more of a street related expense, not
Yeah.
planning. Planning though, I asked him this very specific question, and he gave me this number today. I said, let's talk about that as far as planning is concerned. How would it benefit you? And he had a great answer to it. I'm surprised I didn't hear it tonight, but yet. And it was the fact that if they're doing new subdivisions, they can look and see where is that subdivision wanting to be built, and what does the drainage study show, and what do they, as a developer, have to do as a result of what this study says in order to be able to meet effective or efficient drainage in that area, not to disrupt the flow of water through any of their subdivision. And so I could see it immensely how it would benefit planning, the study itself, but then to play off of that, street would be the one that would be more utilizing corrections that need to be made to current existing drainage flow.
But it's still fun.
This year, it makes sense that it be here as a component of planning and professional fees. Beyond that point, when there's things that are starting to get done, that needs to go over to be funded out the street side.
I would think so, and there's certain for that.
I think it's something we really need.
Yep.
Like your answer to Tom, or whoever's answer to Tom, it's nice when a developer walks in and says, I'm looking at property A, B, and C, and they say, well, you choose property C, there's gonna be one heck of a detention pond there because of the drainage coming off. and you're gonna lose half of your property that you're buying, he said, okay, then I'm gonna go look at option A and B then, you know, so.
Well, that's the reason why I put it in there for this discussion,
Right.
and I appreciate the input.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, I think the only change made is what Tom's already done. is put it
Yeah,
over
Just
as
change it from one to
Professional.
the other.
Yep.
So at this point, when you go forward, y'all are the point man, you and Hunter, the planning department is the point man in managing this conceptual project. It may get passed off to the streets later.
But we'll
on next year.
We will involve street on any of that too, so that they're in the loop.
Ralph, back to one of your early concerns, what do you want that 6,000 to look like under recording fees? Did you ever come to that
Well,
comfortably?
I think 2,500 would be good. And I think, I can't remember if Sonny or Hunter said this a minute ago, that they would rather have a little bit more cushion in the professional
Yep.
fees column for studies and
Yeah,
drawing. And so whatever we decide to take out of there or the education and training, I would kind of like to move some of that.
You need more than 16,000 in your professional fees, because you've got legal fees for future annexation 8 and Crafton Hall, update zoning map of 8. So you're gonna add more to that for,
I would leave it there. 16.
So, in the professional fees, we spent 11,354.
right, you have 16.
We budgeted 16, so there's a $4,500 cushion here.
And that's what I'm asking.
But
you.
that's
Why
where-
didn't you give you more?
That's where we've just moved, is that not where we just moved the
We did, but that's
Capital.
the flow through. You wanna add more to that?
No, I think that, we added the 77 to what we budgeted previously, which was 16, and we only spent 11,300 this year, so I still have a $4,000 buffer built into that new total.
strike my first.
Okay, that's what I was-
Strike my comment.
I was asking you to explain why you had that, like, that.
But you want recording fees to 2,500, correct?
That or 3,000.
Yeah, from 6,000 to 2,500.
You good with that? Gentlemen?
And education and training, just keep it flat from 4,600 and stay 4,600.
Does that cover your tuition
That's
fees
my
though?
Tuition expenses.
Huh?
My tuition expenses. That
Just the
my
46?
tuition this year is going to roughly be about 25 and some change, so we had originally budgeted 2,600. It looks like it just got split from 2,000, and then there was an additional plan related added to 1,000 to cover that other 600, but.
But what do you need for your tuition plus any expected training other than your,
So my tuition.
You have annual-
2,600 covers my tuition.
okay?
The expected training, let me see what we spent last year. We're at 3,400, and of that does not include but about $100 of college expense from the summer. The reimbursement form for this fall semester is sitting on my desk right now for over $200, I think. So you can reasonably assume we're gonna carry over at least $3,000. I did not go to 2 conferences last year, or this year, due to conflicts. So I think $3,600 would be the bare minimum to cover my education as far as inspector education. My college tuition would be 2,600, so 35 plus 26 would be the absolute bare minimum in that.
What's that,
51,
51?
that's the bare minimum.
Yeah,
So in
that's
other words,
not leaving us any.
so what he's saying, the
room for
46 wouldn't
increase.
be enough.
Okay. So this,
50,
let's just put it at 6,000 then.
I agree, I think we just leave it at 6. Because they're gonna pop up with
Or
something
put,
else.
put it at 6, yeah.
Yeah.
From 86 to 6. Right?
Yes,
From 86 to
6.
6.
Going back to the professional fee, so you're saying the 11,354 was basically what we spent this year on legal fees for annexation and updating zoning maps?
That was all, anything that we could code professional fees wise. Yes.
Okay, but everything that you've got, the 8,000 and the 8,000 for future annexation and update zoning maps, those aren't specific projects or anything. It's just along the same lines as the 11,000 from this year, right?
Yes,
What page you on? I believe you're correct in your statement, but I can verify.
It's on
Yes.
page 4.
Yes.
Okay.
That is almost, that's an every year recurring expense. We're always paying legal fees we're always paying, updating zoning maps. We're always doing these things.
Not anymore. So the updating the zoning map, we used to have to pay somebody to do that. You'll see in here later on, there is an additional software I would like to get, Esri, ArcGIS Pro. So we will be able to update our own zoning map through that software. So that would be a yearly $2,000. So it's a $4,000 decrease in the, anticipated zoning map and update price.
The city used to have that software.
Used to.
Have you ever operated Esri?
I have just a little bit, but not too extensively, but part of what I'm going back to college for is GIS.
Hunter, is this what you and I talked about a while back, a little bit about what Wapatiti,
Yes.
what we pay fees, dues to Wapatiti for?
Yes.
So, and I know you and I talked about it, but it's been quite a while. So if we're still paying Wapatiti fees, I'm not trying to get out, I think it's good what you're doing, what you're asking for, but if we're paying them, would we get anything different? I mean, I don't want to not, Wapatiti's invaluable to us, I think.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying? Without saying it, I don't even know how to say it.
I'm not sure what we're supposed to get
From them.
from Wapatiti contractually.
Yeah.
And then I don't know what we've actually been utilizing in comparison to what they're supposed to provide.
Yeah.
I feel like we don't use them near enough. At least I don't see it in our department.
Yeah.
I talk to Wapatiti at least 3 times a week, but it's for 911 addressing, which is not part of our contract, I don't believe. That's a service that they provide to contractors. I reach out for maps from them every now and then, but honestly, to explain what I would like to see on the map and then have them provide that map and then reach back out to have them revise it, it's just been kind of a struggle, and they're busy as it is.
I'd encourage you or Sonny or both of you or us, whatever, to get with, not Tracy, Shannon, and nail that down and see what, I agree with you. I think we've probably been underutilizing them.
Yeah, we're fast approaching city size that we most likely have a GIS
Yeah.
analyst on staff.
we're just trying to bring this in-house so that we can do
Sure.
this.
No, I like that you've got it here too. I just want to, but I want to make sure that we're getting what we should get out of them too.
Yeah.
For the money we pay.
Well, it looks like a no-brainer if you're spending 2,000 on software, and you're spending 8,000 every year.
Right.
For this thing, it's no brainer.
Yep.
How much are we spending on Wapatiti?
Danielle, you know that right off? How much?
3,000?
A year?
Something like that. Yeah. We have a new contract. We just,
It's staying the same as last year.
Yeah.
I believe it's maybe
Nothing. Nothing went up.
They did go up, but that was the first time they went up in like
That was
20 years.
per capita, right?
from last year.
Wow,
We
they-
got a lot out of that, though. Yes, we do.
Oh yeah, we get plenty.
But I think
Water
that,
sewer paid them separately.
Yeah, okay. I thought they did. I wasn't sure.
to have the GIS information here, I think it's a benefit, get that updated information, just,
Yeah, I mean, you're talking
quickly.
all of the Boy Scouts, Eagle Scouts, trailheads, just, you know, I'm obviously describing things relevant to what y'all deal with, but I mean, your imagination is what we could do with that software with the right training. I'm not gonna pretend like I'm gonna get it January 1st and take off. There's a learning curve, but I think it'd be useful.
Yeah, we can't afford GIS analysts.
No, not right now. They're up there.
Do you have anything budgeted for hardware replacement and maintenance? Because the printer is probably still fairly functional. I would guess that the workstation that you were running Esri on before is kind of outdated.
We actually just
We have one on order.
Okay.
mine just quit on me.
Yeah.
I'm running too many big applications on it, so the new one that we've ordered will
And we-
operate these bigger applications for the future.
And we got a new plotter last year, so we should be in good shape.
So you've checked with Esri and you know the requirements for the hardware?
Yes.
Very good.
On the fuel for vehicles, I mean, I'm kind of anticipating a more moderate year in fuel costs. I was wondering if we could just bump that down to 2,000. Looks like you spent 1,530 this year.
I've had the diesel this whole year, haven't believe so.
Yes.
I would be fine with that.
Yeah.
Two, yes, sir.
And 68,999 miscellaneous expense. You guys didn't spend anything this last year. What is that earmark for you typically?
Ralph, that's just for, in case, something happens to our plotter or our printer back there. We have a printer that's on, that we've had for some years. It's just kind of as a buffer in case we need something and need it fast without having to come to council to ask for, $500, $1,000 for something under a miscellaneous.
So it seemed like that'd be covered, kind of covered up, and maybe in the materials and supplies. So that, you had 1,500 there, and I'm thinking, you have just about $1,500 cushion right there.
If you'd like to take it out, that's fine.
I'd like to see it taken out. I mean, just we while I think the study is very good and very prudent, you have upped your overall thing by 70-something thousand, so I think every little bit will help. I'd be in favor of just removing that.
So, can I ask a question? The computers and information technology under expenditures, you said that you replaced the plotter last year,
Yes.
and where's that factored into?
In the budget or in the,
I don't see it in the 24 actuals.
I don't think it was done the last, you said 3. So
Yeah, I believe it's 23.
23, you only have 24 in front of you.
And then, okay, so you don't have anything budgeted for 2025 in computers and information technology.
Everything he's getting this year is gonna be this.
So you've got $11 in actual, and you didn't budget any.
The actual is the bill for what they just ordered, just being paid. It's in the check run that we have, being just prepared now.
Okay.
It's yes, we have to prepay it before they bring the equipment, so it'll hit in 24.
Okay. But we didn't have anything budgeted in computer and information technology. And we don't have anything for this coming year budgeted for information technology and computers.
And that could have come out of miscellaneous expense too.
Well, I wouldn't, Where's your miscellaneous here?
It's on the second page.
Which is right above materials and supplies. I mean, right below materials and supplies, which is 141 in there.
Well, if you're looking at Esri in the next year, there's, the software and the hardware associated with it. I mean, it's just need to, because it's not just the hardware, it's the ongoing maintenance of that sort of stuff, upgrades, things like that. You need to take a look at that information technology and come up with something solid for next year, because we don't want to get caught by a surprise this year on some of that stuff that we're doing.
Sonny, would you feel more comfortable relocating that miscellaneous to the computers and IT?
Yeah, that's fine.
That would put a padding in there for some miscellaneous expenses in IT. I know that will cover about a computer. What was that cost?
Right at 2,000.
For something that will run these programs.
So the ArcGIS Pro, what's the cost of that? And is that reflected in our budget?
I know our licenses are around $1,100 a person, per license. I suspect it's probably-
This one is, and so it's a single seat license.
So where is that budgeted?
It's on service contract.
On the screen.
So it's that's going under the 18,700. Now, is the I work Q?
I work with a Q.
I work. Okay. That's for the software itself, right?
That's for all of my planning related softwares for permitting and building inspector softwares.
Is that, and there's nothing budgeted under, okay, so is that for the software itself, or could that be broken out into software and maintenance and that type thing?
You're talking about the iWork contract?
Yeah.
It's cloud-based, and all you're paying for is the license, if you will, to do it.
Yeah, there's no
There's no actual
actual
software.
hardware
Okay.
that's associated with that. It's all cloud-based.
Is that every year?
That is a yearly renewal. So that number looks scary, especially compared to what we were paying in years past. You have to remember that if we decide not to go with the business license module, you'll be taking 5,000 off the 18. And then we're getting a $2,750 reimbursement from animal control from that amount. So looking specifically at the iWork community development package, or let's make the decision, or it'd be nice to have a decision made on the business license module. If we would like,
It's a flow through the year. You got 5,000 revenue, 5,000 in expense.
yes,
It's neutral to you.
it is.
It'll affect general's budget. We don't have that yet. So they don't have to make a decision on it right now. If they say no, I pull both elements out and your budget stays the same.
Yeah, well, I'm saying more for me to contact iWorks because I've got to have them quote a contract and get it gathered before the first of the year so that we can implement it. So if you would not like to have it included, I would like to have that information so I can get with them and have them remove that from my contract proposal.
Yeah, it makes sense.
The animal control code enforcement, I say animal, it's just code enforcement module is included in that community development package. I can't remove it. If I remove it, I don't get enterprise pricing. So the only one that we have the ability to cut is the business license module.
How much do we collect in business licenses each year? 80,000.
20,000.
So, I'm just kind of trying to get my arms wrapped around it. So what do we currently expend on software associated with permitting and all that stuff right now?
What was our actual software fund for iWorks? I think it was 6,800.
You got 7,000 actuals for this year.
Yeah, and so of that 7,000, I think 500 and the white office machines were included.
Yes, so the iWork was 6,183,
6,183.
and this will be 7,750. Here, new.
So after you take the transfers from, the potential transfers from general and from animal control, we're increasing from 6,183 to 7,750 for the software, and I get a whole lot of other features and options available to us for not only planning, or not only building and permitting, but planning and zoning. That's part of the whole community development package.
Okay, so break that out again for me. You got 15,000 budgeted for this cloud development software. And not really caring where that comes from, because it's all coming from county sales tax, basically. How much is that compared with what we were doing annually? I mean, it was $7,000 for our software last year.
So just the iWork by itself, last year was $6,183.
Okay. And so we're adding another 8 something, and that buys us what?
That will get you the business license module, and I've got a whole list of them.
If you could, just kind of give us a breakdown of what it's been in the past, just if you can just pencil off something to the mayor and have him get that back to us so we see that broken out.
Okay. Not a problem. What we have currently is a permit software. We have, they call it the portal home, which is the link on our website to an online-based system. And we have the payment processing software. Those are the 3 separate modules that we currently pay for. That makes up the 6,183 and all of their service maintenance agreements, all wrapped up.
It'd be good to see the breakout on the budget, just so we can kind of compare and see what we're getting for it. Just a little more detail in this budget so we can look back and we can explain to the community what we're getting from this.
Because I was thinking 5,000 was, for the, Charlotte's portion, right? But 2,500, so 7,500 out of that is kind of those bonus things.
That's correct.
Then well, yours down about, about the 7,000.
Steve's
But
point
I
was
think it'd be
that
good
all
too.
this was paid out of county tax, so he was not separated out into which department was paying for which. He was
Yeah.
looking at the overall.
There's a lot of stuff and there's a lot of ifs coming from here, that's coming from here. Just want to see kind of a breakout of, what groups are using it and how much this costs us overall.
Do you want me to go through and list off what this is getting us, or do you just want me to put that on paper and?
Like I said, part of this is Charlotte's, and part of it's animal control,
Yes.
and part of it's planning. And just, you got 15,500, and you got inputs coming from, I just want to see the comings and goings of that software piece right there. What's funding it?
Is that something we can do?
I mean, it can be back of a napkin type stuff as long as it's spells it out.
Easy enough.
I was gonna say, I like the direction y'all are going. I like getting a grasp on water. I like the fact that, hunters getting formally educated and professionally trained. I like all that. I like the fact that kind of trying to get digital and trying to get things paid digital and, getting a grasp of ESRA. I like all of it. I think it's just the direction we need to be moving as a community.
Thank you.
So,
Looking forward to the future.
yeah, I think we're preparing for the future. But I think y'all are I think y'all are moving in the right direction, and I appreciate y'all doing that.
Oh,
Is he pointing to God?
Was
I think so.
was the building permits the 20,000 or was it the privilege license?
Privilege license.
20,000, okay.
All right. Tom's pointing at the salary, showing a 2 point for me.
But, no, the 2.3 calls for everybody.
Well,
Just have to be one of them.
well, John, I'm just reading off the chart here. And
Look at it that way.
It is for you, son.
same for Hunter. And then I asked for a 6% incentive for Hunter for this year.
Yeah. I'll silence that for a while.
Rod, we discussed the last meeting that you were here, that the COLA 2.3 was the Arkansas COLA, and 2.5 is the federal awarded COLA. So the revised max, if you remember, goes up by 2.5%. 2.3% then gives a little bit of a buffer up to the separation between the max and what the actual will be. So the requested incentive that's there is based on this salary, the 2024. It's not based on this plus the COLA. The COLA is awarded for next year based on the inflationary growth that was seen this year. But this becomes part of the base for next year's number. And the COLA that COLA this year that's being awarded for 25 will be in this salary, which will be any merits next year will be based on. That's how it calculates it. We're doing your calculation.
What he said.
What he said. Tom, I failed to get to your office today too, and it's not much, but can you plug in to see what that looks like for his a merit to get him to the revised max with that COLA? It's tiny.
We did.
Or did you?
I'll buy you a beer.
Okay. Probably not two though, right? Near beer, which is, by the way, is available
At John's
John's
Hoagies.
Non-alcoholic.
John's Hoagies.
This is deja vu from last year, I think. But half, all right.
Anything else, gentlemen?
I had a question.
Okay.
Again, just on, this overtime hours compensation. You have 5344.54 for that.
Who's getting overtime?
He's hourly.
Oh, he's out. Oh, you're hourly.
Okay.
Okay. I thought that was a salary.
All of this work right now at this meeting, you're paying for.
Y'all want to stay here longer?
I mean, look at it in
Ask
a
him
salary
a question.
position. The salary system was always a salary position, to tell you the truth.
We're gonna get 5 more minutes out of you.
Get him out of here.
I'm gonna cut you off.
Yeah, we're going.
I had looked at putting this position or requesting this position to be salary, and it wasn't eligible at the time. I don't remember if it was due to the amount, the compensation amount, and or that I didn't have, or I wasn't in a supervisory position. I did not have anyone underneath me. I don't know if those rules have changed. I know that the minimum amount to be considered exempt has changed.
No, it's.
Danielle
changed.
can-
They outrolled it.
And it did.
Yeah, so you currently, by your pay, you are eligible, but your job is not eligible.
There's three criteria.
There's criteria and you do not fall under those.
It's fall under one of them.
Yes.
No, I mean, I've been living as a non-exempt employee, and it benefits me.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, tell me.
Yeah.
Mm.
We all like to,
You're the only one in the room this is benefiting.
Yes,
them.
absolutely.
Yeah,
Kristen's out,
Kristen.
but she doesn't normally get the pleasure of coming.
pleasure. All right. What you got next, Mr. Bell?
You're down to 72, 128.
Do what?
Number 72, 128, and the 77, which is on the paper.
Oh,
All the changes you did.
oh, with the 250, okay. I'm just now hearing what you said. Yeah. Yep.
That's the impact of what you did.
Right. Anything else, gentlemen?
Well, I guess so this is, like this whole, we're bringing 27,000 over from the general fund. Or it's on page 2.
You know, if you look at the far right, right now you're bringing 27,000 as of today, but 72,000 on the far right, that's your budget for next year. Middle column is your actual for this year. So next
Oh,
year, you're
okay.
looking to fund by, this year, they have contributed a surplus of 27.
Oh.
They budgeted a 3,000, they're at 27, and next year, they're gonna be at 72 opposite. They're gonna be in a deficit spend. And it's all pretty much that 77,000. Otherwise, they would be in the positive.
Which, am I remembering right, we got some of this stuff going on, but there's a possibility of monies available for that. Not on that part of it, though, the 77,000.
As far as what you and I discussed earlier.
Yeah.
There's a potential, but I'm not sure if it's eligible, if that's an eligible project. for
Okay.
that Scope of work change.
Yeah.
But my intention was to pursue grants.
Yeah.
off of the 77.
Okay. All right, gentlemen, if you're good, we'll move on. Thank you, Sonny. Hunter, thank you.
Thank you.
Go home, Hunter.
Off the clock.
Clock out. Clock out, Hunter.
Danielle did it hours ago. It's okay. She punched you out an hour ago.
Mayor,
Can I
council.
real quick? Can we take a
Yes, you may.
second break so I can clean up my phone?
Do what you need to do.
So I can clock out?
Yes, please. Thanks, sir.
Does anybody want any more food? Wrap it up.
How's it going?
I'll get some
Sounds
salad.
good.
I'll get one of those pieces of cob and
Oh,
whatever.
yeah, it's really good.
That's what I was going to try.
Chief, looks like you might as well hold off for a second.
Oh, yeah.
Roger, it's really not any good.
That's okay, yeah.
Hey, Sean, was there coleslaw left? By chance?
Yeah.
Whole bunch or just a little bit in the bowl? I'd eat it.
There's a mayor's work.
Mayor's list? I got, thank you very much.
I think that's good. Look at that.
Yep, thank you.
Nice to have some veggies and-
Yes.
Thanks, I worked all day on it.
I think Danielle's volunteered taco soup next time.
No, Danielle doesn't cook well.
Well, that's right.
Kristen's here, where'd she go?
Hey,
She's a really good cook.
okay,
Pay her to do it.
Kristen, you've been nominated. Well, she won't even be here.
I know, but we can still pay her to make it.
Would you like to earn some extra money? Your choice, chili, taco soup, or a vegetable soup for our next meeting. Wow,
Why don't you dress up as Mrs. Doubtfire
I can,
and fix it up for
I
us?
can. What I'd really like to do is go back in time and do,
I don't that,
what's her name
Oh,
talk like this. She cut her finger on Saturday Night Live and it bled everywhere. What was her name? Julia Childs. Julia Childs.
how about the real food? I don't know if they cater.
I asked that, the real food.
They do, but I'm afraid it might be more than what we normally.
Well, they just cut the budget, so
We've got a whole slew of food trucks over there.
that's
Yeah,
true.
nobody does here.
We just have them park in the parking lot.
How about that one, guys?
That'd work. I was gonna clean that up.
All right, Brad, give us some good news.
Mayor, council. This is our proposed budget, 2025 budget's in front of you. It's roughly went up. Tom gave me the magic number. 0.01% is what's gone up over last year's, which I thought was not bad. We can go down line for line like y'all have been doing, or I can just touch on the hot spots.
Hi, Brad.
Yes, sir.
Before we start, I do want to commend you guys for the grants and stuff that your officers have been going after, applying for.
Thank you,
I
sir.
appreciate that.
Thank you. There's I just wanted to point out on the salaries, you'll notice that there's a little bit less than last year's. That's because I brought that DTF position back. I didn't fulfill that DTF position with the county in-house. I've been one officer short pretty much the whole year. I could have filled that position, but one didn't meet the requirements with the mental evaluation, unfortunately, and the other one, I just felt it was best that didn't meet my expectations. So we just elected not to fill that position. We'll try to fill it first thing the first year. Really, y'all are talking about the IT. I don't know if y'all have noticed, but the uptick in, even in the city of Greenwood, like the emails, the phishing emails that we've been getting. I think even the game of fish just become, well, I just gonna say, hey, this IT is becoming a very big deal, and it's almost something the city might look at citywide as for insurance. And you click on the wrong email and it could be as simple as, Mr. Ralph sending me a message and I think it's from him and I open it and we've opened Pandora's box. Our IT is very expensive. You'll look through our budget, our IT. We're fortunate enough to have Daniel in-house, but we have to meet a lot of DOJ requirements since we have ACIC and NCIC. And we have to have a lot of firewalls. So if you look through ours is expensive, and I can do my best to explain it, but really Daniel would be the person to explain it. We have to meet these requirements per DOJ standards and ACIC standards. Would y'all like for me to just go down the list line for line? Yes, sir. I'll start with the 6100 advertisement. We got 500. we do most of our advertising and publication on social media. We really don't have a whole lot of expense there. If I say we keep that the way it is in case we do have to publicize something. The capital expenditures, as you've seen, went up 140 to 196. I'll explain that later. Or I could explain it now. We put an extra. Back side, you'll see that I've asked for 3 cars. And you think that, okay, 3 cars is a lot, but I don't know if y'all got this sheet here. This, it's a list of our cars. Oh, okay. I've got 2 that's down. And when I say down, they're out of service. They need complete motor work. And then those 2 are not, those 2 vehicles are not 4 cars. 1, 2, the 3 cars that are over 90,000 miles. So I'm asking for 3 cars, which I know is fairly expensive. They'd be on the state bid and the outfitting of 3 cars. Now, I can't put that in the budget because I don't know what it looks like, but I would like to trade those 2 cars, the ones that need the work like we did last year. But I don't know, I don't know what that looks like just yet. I don't know what they're willing to give us, but I would like to trade those 2 cars in for the 3rd car, if that makes sense.
It makes sense.
So roughly we'd be purchasing 2 cars and then half of the 3rd one, roughly, if that makes sense.
And you're going with the silver color?
Yes, sir. Silver color. We go off the state bid. The state bid I have, it's roughly it's what the state, it's the, oh, I'm sorry. 39,606 off the state bid, Red River Dodge. And plus there's a couple $100 fee for the spotlight and the silver. So that pretty much is the reason why that looks like that.
The 30 you have in there, that's the cost. You have no idea what the trade-in may take away from that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Right.
So that'd be the worst it would be.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And Chief, where did you get your vehicles outfitted at?
Omega in Fort Smith. Yes, sir. They're a company out of Alma, but they've been working out of the Central Mall in Fort Smith. It is Omega, right? Omega.
The old Sears store or whatever?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. And they've done great work. We're really happy with the work that they've done.
That'd be great. I mean, there would be money kept in Sebastian County.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Fantastic.
Capital improvement projects, the 8,500. Well, that was from last year. We didn't have any, we didn't budget for this year. Communications, you'll look and see, well, we spent 24,000 out of that communications out of the 37. That communications is for dispatch. Y'all remember we've entered into a contract with Sebastian County and we haven't paid the final payment for this year. We're still short. And then the rest is internet, cable, communications.
Chief, I'm gonna back up,
Yes, sir.
Just on your capital improvements. We kind of mixed your idea of the Sally Port or whatever.
Yes, sir.
I mean, did you get anything comparable or are we looking at, I feel like for you to maybe look at that if you haven't got anything comparable.
I think as much as that was, to be honest with you, as much as that was, I just don't think that that's something that I could morally even
leave it off.
Yes, sir. And then if we have to do something as far as storing a vehicle for evidence, we might have to borrow some space over here, maybe set aside some space. That ended up coming in, $150,000 for basically an overhang. And no, sir, I didn't approach it again.
read the $30,000 for to the county.
Yes, sir.
You bear all that cost, or the fire department bearing some?
I-
Split?
I don't think he pays any of it. I think that's us. I think we purchase that or pay for it.
That's the city's cost that you're bearing in the police budget.
Yes, sir. And I'll be honest with you, I don't know what it's gonna look like, but you know that Fort Smith PD will be soon taking over the dispatch center for all of Sebastian County. And I got the feeling it's gonna be expensive. Yes, sir. I don't know what that's gonna look like, but we've gone to a couple of meetings. It's the state law requires that. The county is, well, I don't want to say too much on TV because I don't want to offend anybody. I think there's been some debate back and forth between some entities but they've got a deadline they got to meet before.
So what does the state law say, Brett? What?
It's basically a unified command, and it's like all the dispatch has to go to one. So central dispatch, Crawford and Van Buren and Alma's already done it. It's been a mess for them. I know, because just of all the logistics of it, the retraining, and we're going to soon go through that. Well, they have decided Fort Smith is going to carry the load. They've got the building picked out. They've, they're going to take over the way the sheriff and the police chief, Fort Smith police chief explained it to me. They're going to take on the sheriff's department dispatchers. Nobody will be losing a job, but there'll be more of a cost load per population. They're gonna do it something based off the population, and then a call load, and then we'll have to update our CAD system to match what they have, which is the Phoenix CAD system. So I'm not sure what that's going to cost.
This will be for the entire Sebastian County.
Yes, sir. Yes, fire department as well.
Fire,
Yes, sir.
EMS, everybody.
Yes, sir. The mayor was in on that meeting. Really haven't heard anything else about it, but I mean, I just know it's coming. And we were talking about the dispatch and how we was met with
Yeah.
the sheriff and
Yep.
uh,
Do they got a timeline for that?
they needed an agreement in place before the first of the year because they have a grant that they've got to move on. And if they don't have an agreement in place, they could be subject to losing that grant.
Yeah, and I didn't get much more out of that one meeting.
No, I kind of told them there's a
Okay.
little bit debate
Okay.
back and forth between the
I
entities.
was informed that I'll be sitting at the table with them
Yes.
during all that process, but I hadn't heard
So-
anything.
So where's the building gonna be?
Well, Fort Smith wanted, and I'll just say Fort Smith, wanted to build a new building. Either this is the two things that I know, or a couple of things that I know was kind of thrown around. What's the barbecue place that
It was at right beside the fire department.
yeah,
right,
so over there with that whole hog.
Whole Hog
If they
Cafe.
own some property there, or they're going to acquire some property, there was a thought of building a new building there. They considered the car lot that they bought, Crane, utilizing that. I think that's off the table. The county, absolutely, and I'm speaking on behalf of the judge, I think he'd be okay with it. They want to use the existing armory building and do what they need to do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because there's already a tower, there's this, there's that. So that made a lot of common sense to me. But I've not been involved in another meeting since then, and I don't know where they are. So,
So this is a great deal for the citizens and the stakeholders because we don't have all these redundant services.
Right.
It all goes to one. But you say really nobody's losing their job?
What we was told that they
Right.
would those who wanted to
to stay,
stay.
could.
Yes,
And they
sir.
might even find
Yes, sir.
another,
Yes,
may
sir.
not be there, but they
Right.
find them something.
But it would cost more money.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
But like I said, it's the sheriff's office handles the sheriff's dispatching and the EMS, right, for Sebastian County.
Yes, sir. Everybody outside of Fort Smith Sheriff's Office is now dispatching. And we was assured that there wouldn't be any priority calls. 911 calls would be just as important in Greenwood as they would be in Fort Smith or Lavaca. That was one of the questions that we asked, was there going to be a priority list? Was Fort Smith folks going to be taken care of before, we were or whatnot? And they assured us that that was.
Cost-saving measure, you think that our 30,000 is gonna go up next year?
I pretty much, I guarantee it's gonna go up. Yeah. The sheriff's, if you think in the aspect of we're not going and picking up our prisoners, we're not transporting them to jail. If we get somebody out of state that's got a warrant, we're not having to go and go get them and bring them back. The sheriff's doing all that. So that's really not even taking into account this 30 grand. So I thought it was a bargain when we paid it to begin with. But it's going to go up. Yes, sir. Does that answer your question the best I can? I hope.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I don't know if it is.
I think it is a good thing. I just think the logistics of it is going to have to take some time to get used to. And then the CAD system that we're going to have to potentially purchase to be.
From now on, we know all of our 911 calls are going to one place.
Yes, sir.
Quicker attention.
Will be. Yes, sir.
But I guess, yeah, like you said though, is it being shared between the fire department and the police department or?
No, they'll have fire and police will be in the same, right there at the same.
But I mean, this 30,000, I mean, is there something similar on the fire department?
The fire department isn't paying, to our knowledge, isn't paying any percentage of this.
You're paying part of Stewart's cost.
Yes, sir.
Of course, he never gets us a budget anyway.
Yeah, he told me today, he said, I guess I'll go work on the budget. That would be good.
You told me Dave's working on it.
Well, I think that, especially you said the cost is going to probably go up, or maybe until we find a happy medium or something.
I wished I had the number to give you. I just don't have the number, what it's going to look like. But the fire or the police chief, he told us it's going to go up.
Have you heard anything, radios or anything going to change? Will we have some big expense next year in dealing with radios and stuff? Will they be changing?
We're in the process of changing our radios right now. If you're still using those ones we bought, if you're still using the Motorola's that we use or that y'all purchased in 2005 off the A-Wing grant, those will not work and you won't be able to even get those repaired. That's the reason why we're in a crunch of getting our radios replaced right now. And I'm going to speak on that. Moving forward. You talking about the 7,000?
Yeah, is that it?
Well, I've got money on another budget too for radio repairs.
I was going to say, that won't cover
Yeah.
all radios.
No,
It's
no.
7,000.
No, they're ridiculous.
Yeah.
They're ridiculous.
I'm just wondering if with this new system, when Fort Smith takes over, are they going to change everything where we have to have totally new radios?
I'm not sure what y'all are using, but that's the reason why I'm pushing to get what we're getting as the Kenwood, because the Kenwood radios that are compatible with what they're moving to. I'm not that guru. I'm not smart enough to tell you what that frequency is.
Well,
Channel 6.
Yeah. Yeah.
To split this between fire and police, I mean, should it be, is prorate on the number of calls or how should we look at that?
We don't get that statistic, so for us to do that proration, someone has to funnel that information to us. Because there's no way I would know that.
Yeah, I don't know that either.
I mean, I don't really, I'm just thinking, I think it should be shared,
We can do it by number of people in the department that would be interested.
I think that we might just look at leaving it the way it is for this year, and then we see what it's going to look like when all the dust settles. And if it's just a crazy number, then we probably need to come back and address it with fire chief and we go, you know what I mean? Because we just don't know what it's going to look like. And this 30,000 is a pretty good bargain right now.
Right now, it's a little slightly unfair to your disadvantage.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
What is,
But I guess on side of that, though, realistically though, if you had to change out all your radios, how much is that?
Oh, gosh.
Is
Well,
that-
we just got the $25,000 grant that we
Grant,
spent.
yeah.
We purchased 9 radios with those. The school purchased $8,000 for 3 more radios. So that's, we're roughly at 37 right there for 12 radios. And I'm going to ask to purchase additional radios. They're about, how much a piece? 2,900 a piece for the portable radios.
So is that in another expense area?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
What's the foundations?
Sir.
what do you have that budgeted under?
Let me go down. Say it a little louder. I can't hear you. Capital expenditure on the last page. Yeah, we put 11,200 for 4 radios. That's in addition to what we just purchased under this grant. And in addition to what we purchased out of the budget, that we had extra money, we purchased as many as we could. With these 4,
But would the 4 make you whole, or is how much you're still short?
well, we bought 12 with the grant money. And then we purchased a couple of them out of the budget already from the last year. And then we're gonna ask for 4
You said
more.
the school bought 2 or 3?
They bought 3.
3, so that's, I'm saying 15.
And a couple of us already had some Kenwoods. A couple of us already had radios, that we've had to purchase as these gone down. So we're with this number right here, it'll bring our department up to all new radios.
Okay.
Yes, sir. If that makes better sense. We're getting right with this right here.
What's your turnover like over the last few years?
High. We typically lose 2 or 3 a year. Now, that's not always bad. I let 2 go this year, so that's me. And then we've been able to hire them. We've had more people turn out for PT tests we've had more applicants this year than previously in the past. But we've been down 1 to 2 officers for the last couple of years. We either lose them to another agency that pays more, or we lose them through, just disciplinary issues that we've lost to.
I was just looking at this 66,150 employee recruiting expense.
Help me out.
It's on bottom of page 6, next to last item. What do you spend the employee recruiting expense on?
We have, said page 6, last one.
Next to last, 66,150.
Out of that last year, we bought 2 banners that we can take to the colleges and take to the high school and put up. And it's got our logo. I think we bought some tablecloths out of that so we can set up at job fairs, career fairs. We had an open house that actually turned out great. And just
You got all that out of $1,000? You did good.
So I guess I was just asking, I don't see anything here. I guess they'll have enough applicants to basically not have to really go out and search.
we recruit in different ways. This last recruiting, this open house was the best recruiting tool that we've used. And it's basically open door, come as you are, casual, dress as you are, come and ask questions, get to know us, meet us. And we hired 2. We hired 2 out of that,
Mhm.
and they're great. And
But you can do all that for, I'm just saying, that seems kind of low.
we've
For
We use social media, which a lot for our advertisement. We don't really go to the newspapers. We just use the social media to say, hey, we're hiring, and then advertising our open houses. We've bought obviously snacks and whatnot, drinks.
Showed Stuart these tricks.
We've talked about it. We've talked about it. If you just invite them to your training, oh, well, that's his deal. I gotta stay on topic.
Stuart retires 5 and hires 1. That math doesn't work out right.
Well, we're doing our,
So under, on the bottom of page 8,
yes, sir.
maintenance and repairs, office equipment.
Hold on. Let me get bottom of page 8.
Yeah, I just kind of worry about some of these, $250 for maintenance, repair of office equipment.
Well, some of them are under service contracts, so
Okay.
they're in another area. This would be anything that's off the service contract.
Right.
So where are our service contracts for that
Under
type of thing?
service contract,
Under the,
So right there under service contract.
support, I think it's support and service.
we're very fortunate over at our place where we have, Daniel, I keep saying his name, but he's just, he can work on these things. We can do some things in-house that other departments can't. And, anything that we have to do with our printer, we did have a printer expense. I mean, it is expensive. And when you, if we go over that, we could, most likely take from another area.
So where do you see that service and repair what?
66,200 service and support contract.
It's
Are
on,
these- Do the account numbers go in any type of order? Or
They're grouped categorized, what I got here, by how they fall in a category stand. But that was set up by Steve, I think, from when we first got here.
Okay.
This all was here before I got it. That numbering, nomenclature, and structure was already in place. But the way it's listed on the budget here, I can put into any order, but the reports are alphabetical by type, by name. I have to basically tell the report, put the number with it. You guys are wanting to use numbers instead of just the name. The way that this was originally set up in a report writing series was, you wouldn't be using the numbers, you would be using the name. So you're kind of flopping the way we wanted to present it to you.
it's on the first page, under maintenance repair to the building. We budgeted 250. We didn't spend it last year. I say we keep it at 250 for this year.
So service contracts under maintenance or repair buildings?
But no, it's right underneath that. Maintenance.
66,200, service and support contracts. They had a budget of 15.5, they spent 234.57. Now, I don't know necessarily how they wanted to use it, but the structure for repairs and maintenance to office equipment is the one-offs. It's not where you have a service agreement like we do on a big printer here, a big copy. They come in and they service that, and that charging, that expense is built into the support contract. If you had to have somebody come in and repair something that's not under any kind of a support or maintenance contract, that would fall under that.
Okay. So, what's the block system?
The Flock system is a camera system that's all inclusive. We've had it for several years. It's a license plate reader and also a 360 view of, we have 6 and the school has purchased 6. So in total, the city of Greenwood has 12, or well, in Greenwood city limits, there's 12 block cameras. Basically records vehicles, and there's a tool used if we need to backtrack of seeing who may have been in a particular area or whatnot. If it alerts to different types of, warrants, if it's felony warrants, if it's sex offenders, whatnot. I think,
Come in pretty handy too. I just,
yes, sir, it came in handy several times. It's basically technology that is being used across the country is tools to be used to help investigative purposes and missing children, such not.
People that dress up, entertain their neighborhood, quote unquote.
We don't store the data. We don't sell the data. We don't keep the data.
Is that what he
It's-
said, Roger?
I just want to put that out there. We don't have anything to do with the data, and they don't sell it to China. You know. Yes, sir.
Going back up to your computers and IT,
You're gonna have to help me out. Well, I'm like Mr. Tedford. I gotta go back to the numbers.
well, if you're going, by alphabet, it's the,
Page 16510.
yeah, 6510.
Yes, sir.
Page 6.
Yes, sir.
No, yeah, page 6.
Yes, sir.
That, when you say other IT needs, 15,000, you kind of expand on that.
You're gonna have to help me out.
Right there. It's right here.
Oh, so it's on the back page.
Well, he's looking at the detail.
Yeah, I'm looking at page 6.
That's how it's supposed to go.
On the screen here.
I'm still looking to see where you're at.
Line number 11.
Right
It's the
there,
third item on page 6.
right there where it's,
Hold on, let me revert to my, call a friend.
So we put fifteen
Call a
thousand
friend.
in there for laptop replacements, desktop replacements, cameras at the PD, and kind of server needs that we might have. 15,000 should cover that. We have a ton of computers, obviously. in the
Yes.
Police department, and 15,000 would be a good.
And that's.
So each one of these cars have a computer, plus all the desktops at the police department, plus the one mainframe server that is gigantic. That's monies to be spent to use to fix, repair, anything that comes up.
And that's kind of where, you've got down here office supplies, 61,400, it's right in the middle of the same page. You've got a little explanation, and that other miscellaneous IT needs, that would be a good place to put in a paragraph like that,
Okay.
just to give everybody here an idea of what goes into there, because what happens is, as we're going to the grocery store and someone says, what's that? We have an answer.
Understood. Yes, sir.
Well, and I guess I just kind of see, with that, I mean, I can see where the evidence communications, that Axon and stuff, I mean, it's a pretty substantial increase, and I said, were y'all finding ourselves short this year, or is that some other expenses somewhere else?
No, let me explain that 16,000 for the Axon. If you'll remember, I told y'all that we got that a grant for 75,000. This the total expense of updating the whole Axon system for us and coming current is a 5-year plan, and it's 143,000. That grant was to pay for 75,000 of it. The rest of it will be purchased over the course of 5 years, and it's deducted at a certain amount. So I didn't know that we got the grant, at the time we were doing the budget. So we got a blessing and we got the grant. So our portion for next year, our portion would be 3,000. The next year, I think, is roughly, I got it somewhere, that's 8, and then it might be 9 the next year, and then 10, whatnot. So I wanted to come back to that 16,000. I'll be able to give some of that back, but I want to hit y'all with
That's
something.
really where the jump was in that category, was that.
Yes, sir.
Axon
Yes, sir.
evidence. Okay.
Does that make sense for everybody on that?
Yep.
Sir?
Are we gonna change it or leave it?
I thought it was legal.
Yeah, it was leaving, I just wanted to know.
He just wanted to know what it was, so.
Well, I need to move it, actually. I need to move some of it.
I know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Well, if you got some other information, Tom, please share.
He said he would like, there's something he could get back.
Yeah, I could give some of that back, but I would like to add it to my employee merit raises. And the reason being is the 2 previous people that went before me is put I think 3% in and 6% in. I would like to take some of that and spread it across my salaries and bump it up just a little bit. I think we come up with a number back there real quick. I needed roughly $6,700 to give them, to get them up to the 3%. So that's what I was gonna hit y'all with.
So you're wanting to reduce, how much out of this?
I want to take 7,500 out of that and move it over to salaries to bump the officers up to, and spread it across those who are eligible, to get them close to the 3% mark for a salary increase.
And when you say 3% mark as far as merit or 3% total?
For merit,
For merit.
It'll be a net neutral budget.
sir,
It'll be net neutral.
Okay. Right.
I'm gonna,
So which one are we,
approve that, I'll move that afterwards, because that's a very detailed.
so are we decreasing the Exxon or Axon,
Action, yes.
7,500?
Yeah, it would be 8,500.
Hey, Brad,
sir,
what caused the insurance on the building to go up so much?
Okay.
thank you.
Okay.
That's,
He called me on that too. All right, 3 buildings were involved with a large increase. One being the street department, fire, fire, city hall, and police, I think were the 3 buildings. All the other buildings were all insured under Osborne. But the 3 buildings that I just mentioned were the buildings that were insured by Basham. And Basham did not have the big increases that Osborne and City had when the deductible buyback program had to come into being, when the deductibles went way up. And that happened when we went from EMC over to Travelers. And when they went to Travelers, Travelers said, well, you're gonna be paying a deductible on weather-related and or wind hail, weather, and any kind of a disaster to your buildings. It's gonna be a percentage of the value of your building. And so we bought a buyback policy in order to bring it back down to I think it's $10,000 deductible. So we would have the deductible in force with Travelers, and then this other policy would reimburse us for what the difference was that we weren't able to collect from the insurance that we had out of pocket. So it brings us back down to the 10 grand. Well, when that was put into place, Basham never had that, and their rates seemed to never change either. The insurance seemed to always be the same. So Osborne bought Basham. And so when they looked at the policies for these buildings, quote Teresa, they were woefully underinsured. And they brought them up to the standards for all the other buildings. And when they did, that's why you saw the major increase. Because now they're insured as the policy has in its place for all other buildings within the city. That's one of the biggest reasons.
and that's part of the reason why the budget's more than last year's, if you look at it.
Yeah, I mean, that was
Yes, sir.
pretty.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that
Well,
jump, that was very easy to point out, like,
But you got to take into consideration too, that the insurance overall went up significantly. I have the percentages on another schedule, but it was like 26%. Don't quote me on the number, but it was a large percentage increase. Just overall, just look at your own insurance.
Yes, that's what I was gonna say, look at our own insurance.
Yes.
It went up
And
26%.
we felt it.
maybe we were getting a good enough discount all those years for bashing. It equals out.
Well, I was wondering why we just didn't throw all the buildings. But no, no.
Yeah.
We had a fire or a tornado and they said, well, here's $100,000 check. Don't get luck.
That would even get you a Sally Port.
Yeah.
Oh, he had to say it. didn't he?
Get you a Sally Port.
Yeah, we finally got
So, that was the explanation, because we did challenge that, and Teresa came and sat down and talked with us about what was happening and what was being made for right. Now, there are things that we need to look at for next year about how we want to structure the insurance, but, you know, insurance companies, and not to bash any insurance company, but they tend to want to come right at the last minute and say, oh, now let's look at your, and we're like, you're waiting till the 11th hour to bring this in. They do it on the health side, they do it on the other insurance side. I don't understand why the renewals come in like they do, but it puts you in an emergency need to, you don't have a lot of time to go shop around. But we need to have maybe, even if we are not shopping around brokers, we need to have within that broker shopping around the rates and insurances. Where I used to work, it was every 3 years, all insurances went out for bid, open bid. Everybody come back and give it, if the insurance broker that you have comes back and has the best rates, then they get to keep the business, but everybody's on a competitive equal level. And that's my recommendation, but that's how you do business.
What do we need to do to make that happen?
Small town.
Mhm.
Well.
It does not,
Speak into the
it does not come,
microphone.
it does not come without,
I'm just saying,
Stuff.
We need to, make that call and tell them, here's our schedule for reviewing our insurance.
We do that, we did that, I put that a couple of years ago with, when I was in hospital at 1 August, and they waited until August to come in. So the insurance side for the property, vehicles, equipment, they are that way, they do come in. I said in the middle of July, I want you, July 1st, bring me your information so we can get it ready for the billing. It's the health insurance that didn't seem to want to follow along with that.
When your interest is going up 21 or 26%, I would think that that's justifiable to.
Look,
it's
at least
time to start,
looking at something, or
you know, there should be
well, and
some-
that's why you have the results of the health insurance change this year. That was a huge
Yeah.
decision making.
because what does it go up next year?
Yeah.
You know, it's,
Yeah.
That's
Right.
never go down.
right,
You know.
Well, that's a pretty good jump too.
right.
This is a pretty clean budget.
Yeah.
You did a good job.
I,
I'm just going back. to
Thank
what
you,
you were
Kristen.
saying, when you talk about, fuel, fuel expenses,
Yes, sir. I'm gonna debate you, on the fuel.
all right, well, you budgeted 57 this year, and you spent 46. And so
Right.
Now we're going to 55, and I feel like, again, it's gonna be a moderate year for fuel expenses.
I hope you're right. I just, without being a fortune teller, we're coming into inauguration of unknown. What's that look like? There's some things going on in the world, that, what does that look like? It's like any given time, something bad could happen. We got drones over the coast of the East Coast that we don't know what's going on with them. Nobody's identified them. Nobody's told us what they are. I would really strongly encourage keeping the fuel where it is, because we don't know that's going to be the number one thing that's going to dry up quickly. So I would caution about cutting too much fuel budgets. We could always cut it and then come back to you.
I'd say that's a pretty close estimate based on what you did last year.
And then we don't know what the winter's,
Right.
pretty mild winter right now. We've been fortunate enough. We don't know what the winter's going to look like next year as far as,
It's Arkansas.
And then the other thing is just your janitorial expense, looks like that had a significant increase too. That's just
yes, sir. I think we've been paying her $125 a week. We bumped it up to $175. I just think that's a fair $175 a week to clean a building of our size that has nasty men in it that she's cleaning bathrooms and toilets in it, and also, yeah, I think that's fair for. You said something, Mr. Tom?
I want to throw one other item out there that we overlooked on 3 budgets, and that is the city attorney. In all the budgets, we're incurring costs. The police did to the tune of $9 $99.92, but that's an unknown, and right now we're not budgeting, and you don't have to. You can just say, we'll maintain it as an unbudgeted item.
Can we budget it in just the general?
You can put in a small amount. I don't know to what extent we don't really have a lot of history to go on right now, to say this is what we're mainly going to spend. But we're not budgeting anything, and some of these departments have already started to incur some expense.
That's a great point. I want to bring up, we have got served with the notification of a pending federal lawsuit from one of our officers. It's named him individually. Well, the municipal league is $3,000 versus we're going to have to pay the city attorney whatever fees he pays. It's a frivolous lawsuit. I wouldn't even stress out about it, but there is fees it's going to incur because Travis is going to have to respond with a certain amount of time to this lawsuit. But we just got served that last week, and
But he has suggested and is turning that over to municipal league, correct?
they've been.
Kind of, sort of.
I know we're on. They've told him that he needs to respond to it,
Oh, okay.
and then
AML told him that.
right,
Okay.
and then the Dan Shue, Mr. Dan Shue is going to cover the cost, whatever that they've got it worked out. I'd prefer the city attorney to give y'all that knowledge because I don't know exactly what he's worked out, but he's
I didn't see
handling it.
that part. I knew that Travis informed me that he was going to have AML.
Right.
In fact, he got permission to incur that $3,000 sign a document or touch a tab, I guess, to say.
He's been sick, and
That's
so
great.
you know more about it than
Yeah.
I do at this point. And I've been sick too, so I hadn't really been able to touch base with him. But we are going to incur some costs from him, but which is unfortunate because it's going to be thrown out immediately. This particular person's in prison right now, and he's got time on his hands to handwrite, lawsuits to serve. It's basically a warrantless search. He's questioning the search. Well, he was a probationer with a search waiver on file, so they had the right to search him. But again, he's filing it. Sir?
This was an ex-police officer?
Yeah, no, he's current. He was on the drug task force. And,
Well, I hope Travis looks over it. In the past, it seems like they just always said settle, so I hope.
I don't think they're settling. I don't think they're settling with this.
Yeah, if it's a warrantless,
Yeah.
like, hey, we're gonna.
Yeah, they're not. I don't think they're settling with this.
So somebody suggested leaving in general of it. Tom was talking about the history. We don't have history in this, but if we plug these numbers in over time, then we do have history next year or two.
We are plugging it in. I mean, whenever we incur a bill for them, the live bill is there, but you'll notice like on his, you'll see fees, city attorney, you'll see the $9, you see nothing in the budget. Well, that's what it will show next year too.
Gotcha.
And I don't have a problem doing that. I just want you to know that there is a line item there, and if it gets to the point where on any of the budgets that you're gonna review after this, there's history already from this year. So if he thinks or the director thinks that they're gonna need city attorney fees, they should really be putting something in there, but.
Well, I kinda like-
It's de minimis right now.
I can like Brad's idea, if it's just there under in one location, we can kind of get a better idea. I mean, sometimes it might just, if it's spread out over all the departments, we may not really see the full impact of it.
But you can bring it together and add it up.
Yeah,
And then we at least know who's incurring the expense.
Yeah, you just put it as a loss in that particular budget, and in that way, general will end up covering it because it's not budgeted.
Well, yeah, we're just attributing it to which department it was
Yes.
pertaining to. The fee was, now that's how the city attorney bills us. Tells us, this work was for police PD. This is for planning, this is for, we do it all. Planning had one, animal control would have them if there was ever an issue involving a vicious animal case or something. then I'm sure
There
we'd
could
have
be
to
very
do it.
soon.
So, and then PD for sure. So we can leave them, the last two budgets that we looked at, last three, water, sewer, and parks, we didn't need to touch that. So,
Because really, you didn't have any numbers till the last 2 years, in a way, because,
well, you didn't have any until last.
right, until this year,
Started building.
because he hadn't been building.
I wanted to answer Mr. Powell's question from the council meeting. We looked at the drone training, and a drone for American-made all-tail drone is roughly 12,000. And then the training that I would send them to would be the federal training, the FLETC training at Glencoe, Georgia. It's all inclusive, gets them their flight license and FAA certification, and teaches them constitutional law, federal constitutional law over airspace. Into if we chose to do it in this budget, I would. So roughly for 25,000, we could have 2 certified pilots per se with all the knowledge, especially since we're so close to secured airspace with Fort Smith and Chaffee. It's very important that they know what they're doing.
What advantage do you get out of it?
Advantage is we get eyes over the top of situations like the fire situations. Y'all could see where hot spots were. Y'all could get an overlay. We could get an overlay for missing children. That's used many different ways. I would ask, I'm really not concerned with getting it this year because we have the blessing of you getting with the county. I could see its impact for fire more so this year, but I want to stay goal oriented towards getting a LEAP certified, the accreditation through the state. That's my priority for this year. If I did do that, I would want to wait till we was a LEAP certified so we can get the policies in place, and then send those guys to a federal, to FLETC.
What's LEAP certification?
The LEAP certification is the Arkansas Law Enforcement Accreditation Program. It's basically adopting municipal league policies that have been vetted through a risk management program, and that's been vetted through municipal league already. And it's kind of the way of the future. If you're going to Fort Smith, most of your bigger departments are some kind of accredited. And most of the grants for law enforcement is you're pretty much going to show that you've been through some accreditation process to vet that you've got the right policies in place, you're doing the right training, you're meeting your training requirements, your everything that you're supposed to be meeting as far as the buildings, ACIC, stuff like that. You've all met that. You've met the DOJ standards, and that's going to help us with grants in the future. We're limited on what grants we can apply for too, because our demographics, and they're going to start requiring that accreditation. I really believe that. But so I would say if we looked at that drone program, I would say we wait a year, kind of see what it looks like, get more knowledge on it, and then get the LEAP accreditation before we try to attain that. But that's my suggestion.
Okay.
If the fire department would like to go and get somebody, we need a primary and an alternate pilot. Because it's weird, but they got flight hours and stuff that they gotta, it's just like being a pilot. It's crazy for government. Your average Joe can go out there and put it in the air and they're fine, but your government, you've got a lot of stuff you better be doing right. Yes, sir. That's right. And
Now, do you have the certifications included in the budget?
yes, sir, I do.
Okay.
Certifications for all of our officers.
And where is that one?
It's in the training. It's on the, what page is that? You know, the certifications and the certificate pay and the education pay,
What page is it?
page 4.
Okay.
Certificate pay altogether total 16,800. Basically, what certificate pay is when an officer meets a certain criteria, they can apply to get their general,
Okay.
advanced, senior, and so, and once they meet that criteria, we give them the incentive pay.
Okay. Perfect. Thanks.
I need to go back to, stepped out of the room for a little bit while ago, 3, as far as the chief's salary. I don't probably have to say a whole lot about what Chief Hobbs has done with this department in the last year. It's very evident. If you don't, I mean, it's just evident. Chief was hired, I think in September
Yes, sir.
last year. Got a raise, of course, becoming chief, and then I think I gave him small in January of this year, I guess, or beginning of the year, not much. So I want to recommend a 4% raise for the chief, and just on public for sure, on record, he's done an outstanding job. It's just every time I go over there, you can just tell it's a good thing. It's a good vibe. Kristen adds a little bit to that, I guess, but she's amazing too. But I just appreciate Chief Hobbs and my expectations for him when he was hired were very high, and he's surpassed that already. So
Thank you.
I appreciate what
Thank
he's done.
Yes, I agree.
And I think Tom's got that plugged in up there somewhere. It's on the screen.
I'm just not gonna turn these on next time.
Yeah.
Can I ask that you just leave it at 3, Mr. Mayor? I appreciate you giving me 4, but will you leave it at the 3? If you would, if my guys
You
are,
can ask.
if you would, I don't want to
You
make,
just don't feel comfortable with it?
well, if my guys are getting 3, I want to
Yeah,
get,
yeah.
that's what I prefer. Thank you.
I'm not gonna force
Thank you
it
for
on
the
you.
blessing. Thank you for
Yes,
the,
sir. Yes, sir.
thank
I
you.
think that's why you are where you are today, so.
Yes,
That attitude.
Yep.
I would agree.
Anything else for the chief?
All these are okay.
Which one? Well, I'm gonna bump hers up as well with that $7,500. Yes,
I'll fix that.
okay.
We'll get together with that. All right, so that's net neutral. I kept the 7,500 in that other category.
For the purposes of, this might be a Miss Derry question, for the purpose, if this budget passes with the way it was presented, do I need to come back to them and ask them about the trade-ins after I find out what the trade-ins are?
Yeah.
Because right now I just don't have that
There's
thing.
no way you can know.
Yeah, so once I get the
We can always
number,
do a resolution.
okay.
And just making sure, because I haven't really studied it, we're within all of our minimum maximums of salary maintenance, right?
Yes.
They're on those sheets.
Excellent.
Yes.
They're right here.
And next year, I think we probably ought to look at that matrix because,
In 2025?
yes, I think citywide, because if you look at what the governor just did, with all the state employees, now it hadn't passed, I don't think, unless Mr. Meeker could, but she is,
Unfortunately, our agency is constitutionally independent, so none of those.
okay. Well, you're familiar with what she's asking though, and she's asking for crazy amounts of raises across the board. But I mean, that has an effect. That has a trickle down effect of when the state police starts paying this, Fort Smith starts paying this, county starts paying this. It's a trickle down effect of who I'm competing against. So that is something I think we probably look at next year.
Would you like me to put it on the agenda for January?
Oh, I think that's too soon.
Okay.
But
But it's down the pipe.
yes, ma'am.
Hey, Charlotte, who, does the municipal league do, salary
Salary
Mhm.
survey
Yep.
every,
every year?
we all send, whoever will send them in, we always send them in.
Yep.
All across the state, send our numbers in to them, and then compile it, and send a report, and I'll send it out to y'all when I get it.
Okay.
Is it like below 10,000 and above 10,000?
Right. And we're competitive with where we're at. Mr. Tom has pointed out, he's pointed that out to me. Hey, you're competitive where you're at. You're just competing with your surrounding agencies and then, where we live in Greenwood versus some other towns, cost of living's higher. It's just higher here, whether you want to say it or not.
Chief, it looks like 70% of the departments been hired within the last 3 to 4 years.
Uh,
Sound right?
yes, sir. Is that a question?
Hey,
Observance.
It was a question, but
Well, it just shows the importance of us getting accredited and getting the education and training requirements met. And I'm really proud of the last few people that we've hired. Unfortunately, we did lose a couple.
I want to elaborate on my comments a while ago a little bit, and I'm not going to force you to take that other percent, but I know this for a fact, and I'm assuming the two firemen that are here know this, that the cooperation between the two departments is nice.
Much improved. huh?
Yeah.
Breath of fresh air.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I
Yeah.
think fire chief's great. I
And
think the
and
fire department's great.
I'll give Stuart a tiny bit of credit, but most of it goes to you, Chief.
Yeah.
I've been on 22 years. AC's been on forever. It's probably the best relationship we've had
Yeah.
since I've been on.
Well, thank you. Well, thank you. That means a tremendous amount.
So
I
you,
go- We go all the way back to Chief Hicks. Was there anybody before?
Yeah, that's true.
That's a tremendous compliment. Thank you.
I go back far enough where the Arkansas Fire Academy chewed me out because we had 2 radios in the department. It's kind of funny, we're talking about these radios cost. We were up for training and we said, well, we only have 2, and we don't have them here.
didn't you use a piece of plywood for a gurney too or something?
They asked how we communicated, and we said, we just yell at each
Yeah,
other.
All right. Anything else for the chief, gentlemen? Or
Excellent job.
more for Tom?
Thank you.
Hold on.
Thank you.
I wanna show you-
Okay.
He's gonna show us some
Oh.
stuff.
This doesn't have anything to do with the individual budget. It has to do with what the individual budgets do so far to the general. I'll do it this way. All right, so this is the first, this is as of right now. Forget the advertising and promotion, that's their own little line. General and admin does not have a budget in there. That number is based on what's currently sitting in the budget right now, but I have not put anything new in for the general admin. So pretend that number's not even on there. The number I'm talking about is this one right here. So planning and development, you're looking at the budget last year was 259,000. They went up to 333,000. We talked about why. The police department went from 2383 to 2406. It's virtually neutral. It's at a 1% or less. Animal control went from 116 to 110 down because of all the changes that you've made in the actual budget itself. But one of the numbers to look at is the actual 2024 number since they're as of today. That is the incorrect numbers for the general and admin. This has not been changed or modified. But planning and development is at 199. Their variance between the two would be $60,000 right now from the budget. Police is about 312,000, and they'll probably still end up being well below the budget of 2,000,003. The animal control, there's only half a month left. There's only one other chief check one left because the check run that's in my desk right now is already getting its number. So there's one check run left. So they're gonna meet their budget. Animal control is 88,000 compared to 116. They're $27,000 left in their budget too. They're not at any danger either. So all of them are tracking well under their budgeted numbers. So that's the first thing I wanted to show you. And on the second thing I wanted to show you, and these numbers are before we made the changes, but it's still gonna illustrate to you what's going on. So what I've got here is from 2021 all the way to 2025's budget, what the budgeted amounts were and what the actuals ended up being for each of those years. And if you looked at, let's start first with the animal control department. They had 9,000, they came in 6,000 better, 4,000 came in 20,000 worse. And that was the year we started really looking at the fees for the animals. The year after that was the ARPA impact amount, and the reason that's listed there is because of the police department. We'll talk about that in a second. $1,778 negative budgeted, 34,000 what they came in. So we started looking at maybe funneling some more money to them through the fact that we allocated more from county sales tax over to the animal control, went from a budgeted 19,000 deficit to a 4,000 deficit, or right at 5, is what they're currently doing now. So now they're budgeting 27,674. It's probably a little less than that. It's based on the numbers we adjusted. Those adjusted numbers are not on this. I can actually just really quickly show you the real numbers. They're right here. These are the real numbers as of right now. So animal control is 17,6. So that's what they're looking at. Normally, though, if you looked at last year's budget, fire department had contributed a positive amount or a surplus. Then you looked at parks doing a surplus, and you looked at planning doing a surplus. This year, you have planning at a deficit, you have parks at a deficit, animal control at a deficit, fire department right now at a deficit, but don't look at that number because I don't have fire's budget. So just looking at the three, police, animal control, parks, and adding in parks and planning, the four, they're all deficits. There's nobody adding a surplus to that. That's gonna play in when we look at the general budget. So we're gonna have to keep that in mind, because there's a lot of things that I know. If you look at where we are just in 2024 right now, they're budgeted to have a surplus of 459,000. Right now, as of today, their budget is a surplus of 378. I don't see that meeting the 459 by the end of the year. I don't think there's gonna be a massive revenue stream coming in that's gonna offset the one more large expense payout at the end of the month. So that negative trend is gonna be something I'm gonna be looking at. The reason that you can't really look at police that way is police had, if you notice, they're always well below. So below, here's the budget, here's what was actual, here's the budget, here's what was actual. This one was a year where they were pretty comparable because they dropped their budget down $200,000. So they ended up coming really close. ARPA, though, gave them their first surplus because ARPA paid all their salaries out of that federal money. And they actually came in at 410 instead of the 368 that the budget adjusted for. So they would have been even in a better situation than their budget without the ARPA impact. And then 810 was the budget for 24, and they're at 669 right now. So this 891, I wouldn't be too concerned about it unless you really are aggressive and spending all your money in your budget, and it will be 891. That's your worst case scenario. I really think it'll come in to be maybe about 150 less than that, because one turnover, even two turnovers for a couple of months without paying a salary, and then bringing somebody, control officer in at a lower salary, is going to impact that budget favorably. I'm not saying it's always a bad thing to have turnover, but it is a bad thing in regards to continuity of your service and your ability to do effective patrol. But it's, from the budget perspective, it's not going to hurt as far as what you can do.
We still have two expenditures out there that's pending, one being the car that was totaled, which that hasn't come in yet, so that's one.
Okay, but that's okay, the way that works is if, we receive the revenue from it. And so if the car doesn't come back in, then you're gonna have to pay for that. The new
Right.
car.
Right.
That's in the budget right now. You guys approved that in the budget resolution. So if it doesn't come in, we add it as a carryover here. So the number that in your actuals reduced from the budget. And then the budget this year is increased. So all it does is move it into the 25 year. So you're still comparative.
Yeah.
As long as we carry it over.
Yes, sir.
It'll hurt if we don't. So if this doesn't get paid and get brought in before the end of the year, you're gonna see the cost of that new car come in as a carryover item on the capital side. It's gonna have to do that because it's pending right now.
I like this sheet here. I just kind of showing you just the progression and, you know, kind of a year-over-year comparison. That's informative to me. I appreciate that.
No, this is the general fund operating department. It's not all of the departments. It's just the ones that impact the general fund. That's all I wanted you to see.
And we don't want you to, you know, go out there on a ticket riding spree, chief, you know.
Hey, revenue.
No, they were joking. I
Testing.
don't know if y'all been looking at Tennessee. Just pull up Tennessee policing for profit and see. We are not doing that.
I repeat.
And all about that, so you're not doing that.
Anything else, gentlemen?
Good.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Thank you, Kristen. Thank you, Charlotte. Thank you, Tom. Thank you, everybody. There's been a request, we'll take a vote real quick. I think Kristen has volunteered to cook if we pay her. Taco soup or chili or something.
Stone soup.
Huh?
She ain't
Stone
listening to
soup.
you.
Okay, but now the point is, what are we doing on next Thursday?
Eating.
For what?
Oh, that.
I don't have.
Well, the
it.
fire,
Fire I'm gonna have,
you better.
I have to have it before Thursday.
Fire street,
So a lot of fire.
a lot of
General
fire.
may have to wait because fire and street. I mean, we
You
can-
gotta have them in there first, don't
Yeah,
you?
so fire and streets is ones that are left.
In general.
In general.
In general, yeah.
I mean, you can still talk about general. You know, you don't have
Well, but I don't know what his whole budget's gonna look like. So we have to sit down and do that. You know, we're in the same boat as they are.
Are
Right.
you wanting to cancel it?
No, I just,
You just wanna know what we're gonna be talking
I will
about.
light a fire, not literally under the chief tomorrow.
Okay, so we're
Let's
still
all,
having it next.
let's all send
And I
out
will say
emails.
Jeff's out with COVID, has been, and there's 4 or 5 of us that's been affected here. Well, lately we're all good, by the way, but I'll check with Jeff tomorrow and see where he's at on his. I didn't get a vote for Kristen.
We're not voting.
We're not, oh, non-voting.
It's good to see Kristen here.
What would you like to make, Kristen?
I have to work till 5.
That's fine. We're not eating till 6.
Are we done with, are we done with this meeting?
You're okay.
Meeting's adjourned.